Good morning. Grab yourself a cup of tea. I decided to do an impromptu live on my personal because I haven't been live here in a while. So I thought I'd just start the day saying, hi, how are you feeling today? How did you wake up? Did you wake up in a good mood? Did you wake up in a bad mood? I woke up a little sleepy-eyed. I came to the yoga studio because this weekend we have Kundalini yoga teacher training and we have a lot going on. And so I led sadhana, which was impromptu, just like this video. Good morning, Carl. And I just wanted to reach out and say, hello. It's time for tea. Have a spot of tea. So I'm drinking a little yogi tea. And before all the students arrive, I've already set up the camera, I've set up the books and the room, and everything is ready to go. I just wanted to share some personal insights that I had this morning from myself, something that I had been sitting with for all of this week. And my mom, she passed away 7 months ago yesterday. And I have an amulet that I had purchased to put her ashes in that I plan on doing hopefully later this evening. And I was reflecting this past week some old wounds, some old traumas in my life. When I was younger, for example, my mother would get rid of some of my stuff. And I realized this is a trigger for me because I've always taken very good care of my stuff, my personal belongings, my clothing, my furniture, my home, everything. And it's really because I have a deep respect for and appreciation for, I'd say, everything and anything, because I would treat somebody else's stuff the way I would want my stuff treated, with reverence, love, compassion, just like I would want someone to treat me one way, I would treat them. It's something that I guess was ingrained in me as a young child, this whole golden rule, do unto others as you would want done unto yourself. And so with sitting with this wound, she would give away my toys. She would give away my favorite toys. She would throw away some of my favorite toys. I had one of those really tall dolls, and I remember how many times we lived in East Boston, Massachusetts, how many times I dug that out of the trash. At least 3. And I had a pair of clogs. They were blue. Do you remember clogs? Anybody out there remember clogs? Hi, Shayna. Hi, Mary. Hi, Carl. Do you remember clogs? Clogs are or mules, they call them, where you put your foot in them, and they have a wooden, well, the old style were wooden bases. And I had a pair of blue ones, and they had little holes in them. Nothing like Crocs, but I loved them so much. And I had a pair of leather ones as well, and they had a ribbing on the edge, and they were just so comfortable. And for some reason, my mother just kept on trying to throw them away, get rid of them, and I just wasn't having it. So I would dig in the trash for the stuff that and it wasn't that I had to dig, actually. I was a little girl, so it wasn't, I was able to get into the trash. But the doll was sticking out of the trash, and I'm like, not my doll. Or I had, so my aunt Anne Marie is younger than myself, and she lives close by, and I haven't seen her yet, but when she was a little baby, I remember my mother gave away 2 of my favorite stuffed animals. And I was like, that was hard. I mean, I shared everything with everybody. I was the kind of kid that I shared a lot. I didn't have a problem with sharing. But there were certain things that I admit I held on to, I coveted. That was mine. That was my favorite. And so I had a koala bear with these plastic nails, like little plastic where the claws would be. And I'm like going, wait a minute, how did my koala bear get in her playpen? And here's Anne Marie. And then my other favorite stuffed animal was a little lammy poo. because I had a fascination with koala bears. First off, I have this whole thing. I still have never been to Australia, but I've always wanted to go. I'm like going, really? Really? Silly. I know. So when we look back at things like that, these are things we carry through our lives. So I wanted to share this specifically because this is really personal to me. You'll hear a little noise. They're setting up tables for lunch, by the way. And this was really personal to me because I like my stuff, and there are things that are hard to let go of, to get rid of, right? Yes, Aura is A-U-R-A, Shayna. I did see your message. And so while I was growing up, again, my mother had no problem with getting rid of my stuff, and it really was bothering me. And it kind of bothered me all this week. I was really sitting with it, like, how is it so easy? And it is easy when you're somebody else giving away someone else's stuff, right? The idea that you get rid of someone's stuff without asking them is very inconsiderate, and that you don't know how that can trigger or upset someone. And I want you to consider that. If you're that kind of person who can get rid of stuff easily for yourself, God bless you. You probably never experienced this. But there are people like myself who have trouble letting go, who really don't do well with someone else taking over and controlling aspects that maybe for myself, I want to be the one to choose. I will get rid of this, right? So I've been sitting with this all week, and I started also observing over the course of my life. It happened various times. As a teenager, I went to 3 different high schools. I lived in Maine, New York, Florida. And whenever I moved, and even when I went in the Air Force, my parents would shift our stuff around because we had a home in Maine and my dad lived in New York. So some of my stuff ended up in New York at my dad's place. Some of my stuff, I don't know what happened to it. I used to draw. I was an artist. I designed clothes. I mean, there's a lot of my art that just completely got wiped out and disappeared. I was in the Miss Maintain pageant, and I had a special pin because I was in the top 10 runner-up that never resurfaced. It disappeared, along with the stuffed animal that was a gift from the secretary at our high school. So it's like there's certain items in my life I've wanted to hold on to for sentimental reasons, right? I think it's natural. But then I've also had to let go. And that's the irony, right? We have to let go. We can't be attached, but we're also human. So we have to honor the process of letting go and releasing, because that in itself is also part of our evolution as humans. So yeah, those memories, oh my gosh. And so like all this stuff that has disappeared, and it was never like, hey Lana, do you want this? It was like, she'll never notice. I notice when stuff is missing. I notice. I'm just saying. And so I feel bad if I have ever done that to anyone else, especially like my sister, something of sentimental value. I'm not talking about, hey, you didn't eat your food, I got rid of it, gave it to the dog. It's not that kind of thing. It's not like, I don't know, a cup that's paper, or, like, I don't know, you could come up with all sorts of ideas and comparisons. But the reality is there are some things that some of us hold on to, and we have to honor that in others if we want others to honor that in us. And so I'm sure over the course of my years, hi Suzanne, honey, so much love to Suzanne. I'm going to say something in a moment there. We have to consider whatever we want done to us that we don't do to others. So therefore, if maybe you're experiencing something like that in your life, it gets a little noisy around here. Maybe you have to consider, have I ever done it to someone else? But see, I'm looking at a pattern that I'm trying to also cease and desist, that I myself went through a good portion of my life and my childhood, and that my mother had a habit of getting rid of things without asking or getting my consent, and that it it carried through my years. But then at the same time, my mother was the same type of person who would send me vintage clothing that she'd pick up at a thrift store that fit me perfect like a glove. Like, she had beautiful taste. It's just sometimes she forgot about asking others, because she would get, in a way, let's say the word manic, she would just randomly decide it's time to get rid of stuff, and she'd start throwing stuff away and not ever stop and ask, hey, do you want this? And then what happens is you get rid of something and maybe you were gonna use it. Like, I just like having a lot of stuff, okay? I have yet had an opportunity to actually hang up all my stuff because I don't have the space I used to. When I lived in Naples, Italy, for example, I used to have wardrobes, and I would switch out during seasons. So I had bins and everything was organized, and I've always done that because that's just the way to keep things taken care of. You keep things nice. You maintain good quality clothing by keeping them in containers and bins, and you keep them in air-controlled, temperature-controlled environments. You don't keep them in, like just toss them in a bag. If you do that, then you're looking at risking mold and mildew and must and all this other stuff. I know I've experienced all this through the course of my life, which has caused me to learn how to take care of things. So because I haven't had an opportunity to go through all of my stuff, I haven't had an opportunity to say whether or not I need it, want it, and will use it. Because I can tell you, I will open up a box and go, oh, I'm totally using that. And I will use it until it's completely wasted. Oh, it's windy. Same with shoes, same with purses, everything, all so many different things. Oh, thank you, Carl. Yes, we have to do a video, 1-to-1. I'd love that. But I really wanted to share this because it was something that kind of it's been surfacing a lot, and I'm like, why was that so difficult? Why did my mom always get rid of my stuff? I mean, that's something to question too. It really wasn't about me, and I understand that, and I know that. I know that now, but back then it was hard to deal with because it was something I valued, and when you're young, you don't understand what's going on. So you're trying to make sense of something, and maybe there's no sense to be made of it, but nobody's actually trying to console you and work with you through it. So always remember, with children especially, they feel things on a level you may not. They understand and sense totally different, but at the same time, their hyper awareness is picking up on your stuff too. So it rubbed me, it made me feel uncomfortable, and it causes a level of distrust and a clinginess, a neediness, well, what can I do to keep my mom happy that she doesn't get rid of my stuff? Or, was I not taking well enough care of it? Although I have always taken exceptional care of my stuff. In fact, I'm the kid that was constantly cleaning and organizing my bedroom because I like things to be neat and to have their place so that I know where to find them and how to find them. I will make a way to find things and keep things, even if it's not the most optimal, ideal way. But I've learned to adapt because I've moved so many times in my life that even over the course of moving, I've had to find things I didn't know where they were. So I'm just rambling now, and I do want to really give a huge loving shout out to Suzanne. If you don't know Suzanne's story and what she's going through, please reach out, friend her, support her. She has a GoFundMe for her eyes. She somehow contracted a fungus through pesticides that entered into her contact lenses. And I'm telling you right now, with all the crap out there, if you're using Roundup and you're using pesticides and bug killer sprays, read those labels. I really challenge you to read those labels. And you might be lazy and not want to deal with the weed pulling, but I'm going to tell you right now, the ramifications on our earth, on our animals, on ourselves, you don't realize just one little drop of that, one millionth of a particle, they say, takes over hundreds of years to break down. It is that damaging to our earth, and it gets into your system and eats from the inside out. Go ahead and put that in your system. Hello, wonder why we're having so many issues. Me with IBS and my constipation. I mean, these are all related. They're all connected. But don't take the easy way out because you think a pesticide or herbicide or, you know, weed killer is going to work. Because guess what? The weeds are coming back stronger because that's what Mother Nature does. You can try to kill it, but you can't fight nature. And what is man doing? Thinking we know better than nature? How about let's nurture? Let's work on ourselves first, because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying my best. I'm not perfect. I just wanted to show up raw and real here today, and that's all you can do. So Suzanne is suffering with this debilitating, and she has to go through surgery, and she needs the funding because she's been limited with her work ability. She's a photographer. What worse way to lose your career and your job and your livelihood than your eyes say what you need? I mean, and every one of you, I want you to take a moment to be grateful for what you have today and this weekend. And then when you look around and you have the power of sight, I wish you the most beautiful blessings, that you see more vibrantly and more clearly how blessed you truly are and how loved you really are. First off, because you have the breath of life. That in itself shows you you're loved. Because breath, prana, that is love. Take time, have some tea, have some yogi tea. And so, please, again, Suzanne, if you could place your GoFundMe in the comments, I'd appreciate it. I'm going to be in training for the rest of the day, so I probably won't get to it because I got to go tune in with my Circle Guardian homies, yoginis. I love you all so much. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for caring. Thank you for showing up. If you've been wondering where I've been, please make sure to ninja flip on over to our page, Radiculously Rawthentic, and you'll find my videos there, and you'll find all of our content. As well as make sure to ninja flip on over to Radiculously Rawthentic, our group, and introduce yourself, because we love you very much and we're here to uplift, support, inspire, and empower one another. Whatever you're doing today, do it with grace, do it with ease, and be in full gratitude and appreciate the life you have. You only get one life. You can only die once, just saying. So, many blessings. I love you very much.